Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. In tonight's show, I speak to an up-and-coming fashion designer as she launches a new bridal range. And Dan Kemp keeps us up to date on the sport. But first, here's Richard Morris with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, there's proposed new ownership of the Fitties in Cleethorpes and young entrepreneurs are being recognised in Hull in November. 6 people have died on Lincolnshire's roads in the past week, according to Lincolnshire Police. There was a fatal collision on Chapel St Leonard's on Thursday, another at Sedgebrook and a final at New Leek near Boston over the weekend. It brings the total number of deaths on the roads in the county this year to 25, compared with 24 in the same period last year. The Humberston Fitties will stay exactly as it is. That's the message from the leader of North East Lincolnshire Council, Chris Shaw, ahead of a meeting that considers proposals to sell the site off into private ownership, with Bourne Leisure Limited being the frontrunners. There's been anger from Fitties residents about this issue, but Councillor Shaw moved to assure people living on the site that nothing will change with a change of ownership and the move will benefit the council.
We spend an awful lot of time in requests and things that have nothing to do with actually running the site. And what we want to see is somebody take it over who wants to invest in the site and bring the site up to modern standards. The site's not going to close. People there with the lease who comply with their leases, regardless of who runs the site, have got nothing to worry about. It will remain a conservation area, keeping the natural charm of the Fitties, and keep the natural charm of it as a holiday site and not, as some would wish, to turn it into just another estate within North East Lincolnshire.
70% of parents in the north say that children should be protected from payday loan adverts. They say that advertisements should not be allowed to be aired before the 9 p.m. watershed. The research was compiled from a YouGov survey and commissioned by the Children's Society. East Riding of Yorkshire Council may already be seeking for an area of outstanding natural beauty recognition, and it looks like an upcoming competition could produce more pictures of the region. The council is setting up its second amateur photography contest in October. Entries will be displayed on the council's Flickr website and the best 100 photographs will tour in the East Riding in 2015. You can tweet about the competition using the hashtag #CapturingTheEastRiding. As well as photography, East Riding are also encouraging people to stop smoking for the month of October. The initiative, called Stoptober, took place last year too and saw over 1,000 people take part in the challenge. It's reported that 65% of those people who took part in the scheme successfully quit smoking for 28 days. Evidence shows that people who do stop smoking for 28 days are 5 times more likely to remain smoke-free. Support throughout the month will also be available for people taking part in the challenge through text messages and social media channels. Over 50 nominations for individuals and organisations have been submitted for the Hull Youth Enterprise Awards 2014. The awards are organised by Hull City Council and the John Cracknell Youth Enterprise Bank to recognise Hull schools and businesses. A panel has now been shortlisted in each of the categories. This year's winners will be announced by Diana Johnson MP for Hull North at the Guildhall in November as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We've all heard recently about high-profile celebrities having been the victims of hacking. And with hacking and cybercrime on the rise across the world, Lincolnshire Police are taking steps to tackle the issue. This time next week, anyone from the Lincolnshire business community are invited to the Lincolnshire Police headquarters to attend the conference, which will be opened by Lincolnshire Police's Deputy Chief Constable, Heather Roach. The conference has been organised by Lincolnshire's Crime Reduction and Business Crime Advisor, Alex Parkin, who says that the full day's programme is free to representatives of Lincolnshire businesses. The event will be an opportunity for businesses to also air their concerns to the police force, as well as an opportunity to learn about cybercrime. The Grimsby and District Caledonian Society say that the Scottish independence referendum is causing tension among Scots in our area. The Society declined to give us an interview on the referendum, saying that we are declining interviews in regards to the Scottish referendum due to the cohesion of our group and we don't want to get dragged into the fray of the independence debate. That's all from me for now, and we'll be back with more news soon. If you have any news for us, then please don't hesitate to contact us on Grimsby 01472 315561, or you can contact us through Twitter at Estuary TV, or you can search us on Facebook. Bye for now.
Thank you, Richard. Now, next we have one of our Get Creative features, following people who have turned a passion into a profession. London School of Fashion graduate Jessica Holmes started out as a child making dresses out of net curtains. Now, at the age of just 24, she has her own bridal range. I spoke to Jessica as she launched Wold Couture, locally with a show at Thorgamy Hall. Well, Jessica, thank you very much for talking to me today. Obviously, you've launched your new fashion show now and your new line, which is Wold Couture.
Yes.
Tell me, when did you first realise your passion for fashion?
From a very early age, I was, cutting up clothes and making new things, and my nana would let me wear all of her things and tie them in places. And I remember my auntie, she let me try on her wedding dress and, make me another one out of some net curtains. So from a very, very early age, it was a constant thing to be making new things and, playing around with that for as far back as I can remember, really. And then when I was studying in London, I learnt lots of historical pattern cutting and all of that, which was fantastic. But I was also asked to make a bespoke bridal dress for a mature bride, and just fell in love with the process. Fell in love with working with people so closely.
When did you graduate?
I graduated 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now.
And it's one of those things that it's a really hard industry to break into.
Yes.
Well known to be very competitive. So what made you go the direction that you've gone in?
I was always looking on my university website for, kind of working with, new people on interesting projects. And there was an opportunity to work with a new bridesmaids dress company. They were under a year old, and they were looking for somebody just to come and help out. And I applied and got the job part-time before I graduated. And it just kind of spiraled from there, really. They offered me a full-time position as soon as I graduated. And I worked there for 2 years, building up my work with them. And it kind of worked out really quite neatly in that situation there.
It's really convenient.
It was, and it was great to work with them.
And how did you decide to sort of bring it to the next level, to go from working for a company to going it alone?
I was kind of trying to build up through that when I was working in London, but it's quite tricky, obviously very busy. So I decided, if I move back here, it gives me more free time. I could still work with them on a part-time and freelance basis. And I've learnt so much, by working with them, as a new business themselves, that I kind of felt, okay, this is the point, this is the time to do it, now or never. And let's go for it.
So you did a couple of years with them. Yes. Presumably that gave you some great experience.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
What I want to talk to you about then is, the whole point of these features, we're talking to people about how they then turn something that they loved into a business. It must be quite a daunting concept to go in that direction.
It is quite scary, yes.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 24.
So 24, and how long have you been doing this?
Specifically Wold Couture, under a year.
Okay, so 24, 23 I suppose when you started.
Yes.
How do you go about starting, thinking, well, I'm going to turn this, because I wouldn't have a clue how to start?
I think I was, again, very lucky that I started with this bridesmaids dress company when they were very young. So I kind of experienced, what they were facing with, and how they were moving forward. So I knew I had that kind of background to help me through.
Where did you go after that? Because now you're launching your own line. How did you get from starting out to being in the position you're in now?
I decided I wanted to move back up north as I was working in London, and I could still work with the bridesmaids dress company, on a more part-time freelance basis, which was fantastic. And so it was, I was able to then work on my own things at the same time. And since I moved back about a year ago, I've just kind of been building up to this point. The first dress we launched in kind of a soft launch in London around Easter with the bridesmaids dress company. They were doing kind of a press day. So this first dress actually took me the best part of 6 months to get it right, and all the designs and back at work for the rest of them.
And you can tell it's 6 months work.
Yes, it did take quite a while.
And did you find, moving from London to Lincolnshire, there actually were some advantages to sort of coming back to where it was that you grew up?
Yeah, I mean, what's great is, around here there isn't, as much kind of diversity as there is in London, I suppose. In the fashion hub there, there's so many different options, and around here maybe it isn't something that is offered as much. I wanted to do something that was a little different, so people don't have to travel miles to find that. And yeah, in London there's a lot of that, so it's trickier obviously to break into it there as well.
And how have people taken it? Have they been receptive to what you're offering and the dresses and everything else?
Definitely, yeah. It's been great to kind of get people's feedback, and I've had quite a bit of interest in bespoke especially. People can get whatever they want really, and I've had people come in and kind of say, okay, I want a bit of that dress and a bit of that dress, can we mix and match? And it's great. I love to do that, to give people exactly what they want.
And well, I'm sure that in a couple of years, maybe sooner, we'll see your dresses and your name in glossy magazines.
Fingers crossed.
I hope your London launch goes well, and please keep us updated.
Yes, I will do.
It's a great local success story, and we're always looking for more. So if you've made a career out of something creative, or you know someone who has, get in touch by emailing us at news@estuary.tv, and maybe we can feature the story on the show. Up next, here's Dan Kemp with the sport.
Thanks, James. We'll start with the news that Hull City are up for sale and have been since April, according to their chairman Assem Alam. Alam said in a press conference last week that the FA's decision to refuse his application to change the club's name to Hull Tigers has been appealed against to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland. However, we are now aware that no application has been filed. In football, it's been a fairly unsuccessful week for our local sides. Scunthorpe United lost 4-1 at Chesterfield. Paddy Madden scored the opening goal of the game for the visitors, but that kicked Chesterfield into gear, who scored 4 second-half goals, including a hat-trick by Owen Doyle. Grimsby Town suffered a 2-0 home defeat at the hands of Torquay United. It was their first home loss of the season, which was compounded by the double injury blow of strikers Linnell John Lewis and John Paul Pittman. North Ferriby United managed a point at Colwyn Bay in the Conference North. The Villagers had 2 goals disallowed and currently sit 6th in the table. There's a few midweek fixtures to look forward to as well. Scunthorpe host Coventry and Grimsby are at Halifax. Cleethorpes Town have had a great start to the season. The side played Carlton Town in their latest FA Cup preliminary round fixture and beat them 3-2 at the weekend, and it is a dream come true for the team to participate.
It's unbelievable. You can't believe that Cleethorpes Town is actually playing in the FA Cup. Everyone sees the final in May as a great finale, but to ourselves, just to be in it at the very beginning is just a fantastic achievement.
The Hull Rugby Union derby between Hull RUFC and Hull Ionians finished in favour of the visitors on Saturday. Ionians ran out 44 points to 10 winners after running in 6 tries. The Rugby League season is over for Hull FC and Hull KR after both sides failed to qualify for the end of season playoffs. The Black and Whites won 24-19 against the Leeds Rhinos in Richard Horne's final game for the club before retirement, and Hull KR won 42-18 at the Wakefield Wildcats. The Hull Stingrays registered their first win of the League Ice Hockey season following a 5-4 overtime success against the Dundee Stars on Sunday evening. Zach Hervato took the tie into overtime, scoring just 15 seconds from the end of regulation play, and Jordan Meyer netted the winner just 17 seconds into the extra period. Now that's all for the sport this time. Back to you.
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today, but if you've got a story, get in touch by calling the newsroom on 01472 315 561, via social media, Twitter or Facebook, or email us on news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.